Oh. Ready?
Now see if he's ready. He's ready.
Oh, yeah. There were two ladies in here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 men.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen,
Good
here
morning.
and at home. How's everybody doing?
Fine. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day. And again, my name is Diallo.
Yeah.
Yes, today we are doing trivia. So we're going to get our trivia game on. How's that sound?
Okay. So how do you do it?
We're getting our trivia game on, so it's going to be very good here. So let's give this a start, okay? So there's different categories we're going to have. We're going to have things like history, science, math, and just fun riddles, okay? And you at home participate as well. So our first question: what part of the body is covered with enamel?
Teeth.
What's the answer?
I said
Teeth? You are correct. It is teeth. Yes, ma'am.
That's why we question when we brush our teeth.
yeah.
In which state was Abraham Lincoln born? Kentucky, Illinois, or Tennessee?
Kentucky.
You are correct. Kentucky. Which number is greater? 653 or 356? Which number is greater?
Well, it's a big one.
Again, which number is greater? 653 or 356?
I got 600 something.
653? You are correct as well. Who wrote the book Little House in the Big Woods?
Yeah.
Laura I. Wilder. Yeah. What word means the opposite of always?
Never.
Never is correct. It is never. What do you call physical activities that are good for your heart and lungs? What kind of activities can you do that are good for your heart and lungs? Physical activity.
You can dance.
You can dance,
You can do a lot.
run, what else? Swim,
Yes.
bike, jump up and down,
You can do
Exercise.
Exercise.
even laugh. Laughing's good for your heart and your
You're right.
lungs.
You're right.
If you laugh enough, you'll wake up the next day and it feels like you did sit-ups. Where do giant pandas live? In China, Australia, or Canada?
Giant pandas.
Giant pandas. Where do they live? In China, Australia, or Canada?
I think China.
China is correct. Mm-hmm. In what story does a beautiful woman learn to love an ugly beast? Again, in what story does a beautiful woman learn to love an ugly beast? I give you a hint, it's a Disney movie. The Disney movie with singing pots and pans. It's called Beauty
And the Beast.
and the
Oh, that's
Beast.
nice.
Yep. Are sopranos male or female singers?
Well,
Sopranos, are they male or female
they can be
singers?
female.
Yes. Mostly female.
Mostly female. There are some males.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They mixed up.
What letter ends the word comb? I am going to comb my hair. B is correct. Which state is known as the sunflower state? It's called the sunflower state. That's a tough one, huh? What state?
San Diego.
Kansas.
Oh, Kansas.
Anybody here ever been to Kansas?
Yeah, Kansas City.
Like Kansas City? You know Kansas City's in 2 states, right?
Yeah.
What states?
Who said?
What states? Kansas City is in 2 states.
Oh, I forgot that about that.
It's split by the Mississippi River.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
You got Kansas City, Kansas, and
Right.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right. I should know Kansas City, Missouri. That's my
And
bad.
St. Louis is another one too. St. Louis as well. You have St. Louis,
Missouri. Right.
Kansas, and St. Louis,
Right,
Missouri.
we got cousins.
I have an uncle that lives in the St. Louis, Missouri side.
Do you? Yeah. Okay.
You drive across the bridge and you're in Kansas.
Yeah. You've been to Kansas City.
Let's see here. Let's get some different ones. In what North American country is the Yukon Territory? There's only 2 North American countries. Actually, no, it's Mexico. Mexico is kind of North America. Yeah. North and Central. What famous document was signed aboard the Mayflower?
I forgot.
That goes back to your high school days.
I forgot.
So what document was signed aboard the Mayflower? It's called the Mayflower Compact. What do we call a scientist who studies nuclear energy? Correct, a nuclear scientist. All right. Let's see here. Who was the Roman goddess of love and beauty? Venus or Minerva?
Venus.
That is correct. Venus is also a what? What is Venus? It's part of our solar system, and what is it?
Oh.
It's a planet, right? And so, some nights you can see Venus in the sky. It's one of the brightest stars in our sky. Does anybody know how many planets there are in our solar system?
How many planets?
How many planets?
Oh, planets?
Planets.
Well, we have quite a bit.
There's 8 planets.
Yeah.
There used to be 9. The 9th one used to be Pluto.
That's right.
And then about 10 years ago, they decided Pluto was not a planet anymore. And then the ironic thing is, they sent a probe to Pluto. And guess what? They found out it was a planet. Because they thought it was just a dead rock, but it's actually not.
It's a planet.
Mm-hmm. But they haven't reclassified it as a planet. What do we call the island countries in the Caribbean? It's called the West Indies. Do you know why they call it the Indies?
Because they're Indian.
Well, it's because Christopher Columbus came over. He thought that he found India because he was originally looking for India. So when he got to Central America, he called it the Indies. And he called the people Indians. That's why the people in Central North America are called Indians, because he thought he was in India, but he wasn't. He was way off. But it's still amazing, right? That in the 1400s, he was able to travel from Europe to here. Imagine doing that with no map, not even know where you're going,
You want to do it?
and people thought the world was flat, so they thought you're gonna fall off the edge.
You want to do it?
That'd be like
Brian is telling them.
that'd be like trying to go to the moon, right? I mean, that'd be like trying to go to travel to Pluto with no directions, nothing. Let's just hop on a ship and go. That's crazy. I like you a lot. How many words are in this sentence? How many words are in the sentence, I like you a lot?
Oh, I see what you're saying. How many words?
Yes, how many words are in the sentence, I like you a lot?
That's four.
Sure.
But you're talking about with each one of them.
But then this sentence, how many words are there? I like.
is four.
So I'll start over. So I is one, like is two, you is three, a is four, and lot is five.
I thought like had four.
Like is one word. So I like you a lot. The trick is, a lot is actually two words. People think if you have a lot of something, the word a lot is one word. It's actually two words. It's a and then space.
I thought you were talking about in it.
Okay.
That's what I was doing. I thought you were talking about in. How many words?
Which U.S. president issued the Emancipation Proclamation?
What's his name?
His name starts with an A. He's got a statue in Washington, D.C. They used to call him Honest Abe. There you go, Abe Lincoln. That is correct. And with that, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, but the problem is to free the slaves. The one problem was a lot of the slaveholders from the South, so from South Carolina all the way to Texas, they didn't tell their slaves. And another problem was a lot of the slaves most of the slaves couldn't read, so they didn't even know they were free. So it wasn't until a couple of years later that June 19th came around, where the U.S. Army sent cavalries from South Carolina to Texas to let the slaves know that they were free. And June 19th is celebrated as that day, which happened a couple days ago.
Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A lot of people never knew that until this year. I'm a history buff, so I kind of knew that one. Before gaining independence in 1962, Jamaica was ruled by what country? It was a country that pretty much owned everything. They speak with an accent. Good day, Governor.
Let's say.
England.
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 You're a good teacher.
Which is the work of nature? So which one of these is naturally formed? Okay. A canal, a dam, or a canyon? A canyon? That's right, Dave. That's a canyon. So a canal is made by humans.
Yes.
You dig it, and you let the water in from a bigger source, and it goes down the canal into another part where you want the water to go. That was one of the first. Canals were built in Central America and South America, back with the Mayans. They're really one of the first to control water, and they built canals. Same thing with the Egyptians. If you look at the Great Pyramids right now, it's in the middle of a desert. But back when they were building the Great Pyramids, They actually diverted the Nile River by building canals so that the boats could go right up to where they were building the pyramids. Because you can't drag those big rocks they built over sand, right? It's easier to transport them over water. So they had the big mighty Nile River, and they dug huge trenches, and the water came through so they could sail boats right up to the pyramids. Make it easy for them, right?
We took history in school, but I never remember any teacher talking about it.
They didn't know about that.
Oh,
Yeah. Which group was against slavery? Again, which group was against slavery? Plantation owners or abolitionists?
Abolition.
Yes.
The plantation owners don't let them people go.
There were some good abolitionists, right? Can you name some abolitionists? Like Frederick Douglass. The great one that nobody really knows about is Ulysses S. Grant. He was a general for the Union Army, one of the best he's one of the generals that won the war for the North, for the Union Army. And a real interesting story about Ulysses S. Grant, and he was against slavery, a staunch abolitionist. He actually married a woman whose family were slave owners. But here's the interesting thing. On their wedding day, his wife's family, for a wedding present, gave Ulysses S. Grant a slave. What do you think Grant did with that slave?
Turned him loose.
Set him free. Set him free because he was so against slavery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah. What coin has the same value as the decimal 0.50? What coin? So you have a penny, you have a dime, you have a nickel, you have a quarter, and then you have what? 50-cent piece, which I actually have never seen.
A little small. 50 cents.
Maybe I've never seen a 50-cent piece. Oh, $50. Huh,
Yeah.
it's $50. Never mind. I confused myself right there. I was like, I've never seen a 50-cent piece because they call it $50.
Oh,
What do Southerners call boiled ground corn eaten at breakfast?
Say that again?
yeah.
What do Southerners call boiled ground corn eaten at breakfast?
Cornflakes.
No, I know you all had this. It's not cream of wheat. It is,
Oatmeal.
what's the other one? Starts with a G.
So,
Grits.
oh,
Grits.
yeah.
Grits.
Everybody grits. Oh, that was good.
In bowling, what's the score for a perfect game?
Well, you gotta.
If you bowl a perfect game, what's your score? 300.
Right.
300. I've never bowled a 300. I think my best is like a 70. I'm a terrible bowler. Terrible bowler. What do we call a scientist who studies the weather?
The weatherman.
Well, what's a scientific name?
I can't remember.
A meteor.
Oh, that's right.
A meteorologist. Yeah.
Meteorologist, yeah. Well, I think that some of the things you think you know.
We're not in school.
So this name, okay, in Spanish, this name is Juan. In French, it's Jean. What's the English name version of those names? In Spanish, it's Juan. In French, it's Jean. What's the English version of those two names? It's one of the most common names in America. John.
John, really?
Yeah.
John?
What is the most commonly used name in the world? What do you think it is? This name, the name is the name of the most people in the world with the name.
America?
Muhammad.
Oh, my.
It's the most commonly used name in the world, Muhammad. What city is considered holy by Christians, Jews, and Muslims?
Yeah.
What city? It's in Israel. What city is it?
Oh, shucks.
It's where the Temple Mount is. It's where Solomon's temple was. And they're still part of Solomon's temple. There's a wall where the Jews go and pray called the Wailing Wall. It's what city is that in Israel? Jerusalem.
Oh,
Jerusalem, yes.
boy, we should. Going to school and listening to it. After you get a certain age, you just don't remember.
That's why we're doing it,
Yeah.
right? Which was invisible? The Berlin Wall or the Iron Curtain?
The Iron Curtain.
That's correct. You know what the Iron Curtain was?
Russia, right?
Russia. It was a USSR,
Yes.
right? They had the Iron Curtain and the USSR satellite countries. And then what's the other one? The Berlin Wall, right? Which after World War II, the Russians and the Americans split Germany down the middle. So the Berlin Wall cut Germany in the middle, where you had the East, which was the Soviet bloc of Germany, and the West, which was the free American side. And many people on the Eastern side came over, tried to scale the fence to get to the American side because it was so oppressive on the Russian side. Where did Brigham Young and his Mormon followers finally settle in 1847? What state did Brigham Young and his followers finally settle? Starts with a U.
Not Utah.
It is Utah.
Okay.
It is Utah.
Boy.
What is the religion of Black Muslims? Well, they're Muslims, so what's the religion? Islam.
Okay.
There you go. What liquid do bees gather from flowers and use to make honey? What liquid?
I know it too. Yeah, it's a liquid that you make honey.
That the bees gather from the plants?
Plants, yeah.
Nectar. There you go.
Boy, look. Oh, it's been so long. I'm going to school for a while.
But you're still
So
good.
long.
But you're still good.
Yeah.
What system of dots and dashes is named for its inventor, Samuel Morse? I give you a hint. It's dots and dashes, but in order to communicate those dots and dashes, they would use a machine that has a button. They would go. What's that called?
Is that
It's a
not a
type
typewriter?
it's a type of code
Yeah.
that they send through. They would send it over telegraph lines back in the 1800s. So if you wanted to send a telegraph, You would go to a telegraph person in his little business, and you would say, write a bunch of words on there that you want. So you want to send a note to your girlfriend that says, "I love you and miss you." Your boyfriend, "I love you and miss you, can't wait to see you." You would then take that note. You'd have a little machine with a button, and you go, do, 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 do. Remember what it's called? Morse code. Ah, yes, Morse code. I lost that page.
A lot of it you forget. You know, I used to history class.
All right. Who helped over 300 slaves escape north? Harriet Tubman or Sojourner Truth?
Harriet Tubman.
That is correct. What movie introduced the hero Luke Skywalker? Star Wars. Star Wars. Mhm. Which are a plant's flowers? Beets, broccoli, or lima beans? So there's
I think it's wrong.
it is broccoli. Those are actually the flowers of the plant. Do you scratch an itch or do you itch a scratch?
You can do both.
You do both. I like that answer better. I think you do both.
Scratch it.
I got an itch to scratch.
That's a good
That was a good
one.
What sport do Steffi Graf and Jennifer Capriati play?
tennis.
Bingo, tennis. And Jennifer Capriati, she was actually one of the youngest players to ever play professional tennis. You know how old she was when she first won her first tournament? 13. 13 years old. And I think it was 87 or something like that. She won her first professional tournament at 13. How crazy is that?
She did that.
And when she was 19, she won the Olympics in Barcelona.
Yeah.
I don't know how I know that, but I do. Don't know how, I don't know where that came from. Do people elect their leaders in a dictatorship or a republic?
Say that again.
Do people elect their leaders? So do they pick their leaders in a dictatorship or a republic? So do they vote for their leaders in a republic or a dictatorship? Republic, exactly. United States is a republic because we vote our elected officials in. How many players are there usually in a game of gin rummy? What's that? 2, I guess. The person who represents your country in a foreign country is called a what? Yes. So if I elect you to go live in Canada and you're going to represent America, you're living in Canada as a what of America?
Yes.
An ambassador. An ambassador of America. All right, 2 more. What city in New Jersey inspired the place names on the Monopoly board? It's a place in New Jersey that's right on the water. It's got a lot of casinos. It's like the Las Vegas of the East Coast. Donald Trump built a casino that failed, which is hard to do there. Atlantic City.
Oh.
Let's see, one more. Let's see a good one here. In what movie did a great ape climb up the Empire State Building? King Kong is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for joining me again. I'm Diallo. Thank you for joining me for trivia today.
Thank you.
And I will see you next time, okay?
Okay, anytime we'll come.
That's it.
All right.
So now we can get up. Can we get up?
Not yet.
Oh,
Everybody ready?
Yes.
And I need to back up. Let's go ahead and back up the camera. There we go. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Diallo, and we are about to start our daily exercise and stretch. How's everybody doing this morning? Everybody feeling good?
I'm good.
At home, how are you feeling? Everybody feeling good?
Fine.
It is
Diallo.
Diallo.
What kind?
That is African from Cameroon. It means bold one.
Okay.
Yes, it means bold one. All right, so we're going to start off with a nice, easy stretch. Okay, so first we're going to start from our head and go all the way down to our toes. So our first exercise, our first stretch is going to be with our head. What we're going to do is we're going to rotate our head in a circle. Doesn't matter which way you start, but rotate it nice and slow. There you go, rotate it around. Now make sure that you don't close your eyes, because if you close your eyes, when you get done and you open them, you're going to end up being dizzy.
Oh,
All right, stop and go the other way. And as we do our exercise, in between sets, we're going to work on our deep belly breathing, which is also a type of meditation. And with that meditation, it's going to help relax our body more, increase blood flow, and allow for greater flexibility. All right. Ooh, I got dizzy right there. Room's going like this.
Have you been doing?
Okay, good. Next stretch we're going to do, stick with our upper body, our neck. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take our left arm, we're going to put it to our side. So off to the side over here. Okay, we switch about it. Take our right arm out to the side over here, going to put it to the side. All right. And so our right arm's down. We're going to lean and touch our left ear to our left shoulder. Perfect. So opposite arm, opposite ear. Perfect. What that does, it's going to stretch out the neck on the side where your arm is down. Perfect. Now we're going to switch arms. Put your left arm down to the side. Okay. And we're going to turn our neck to our right ear, touch our right shoulder. Perfect. Excellent. Yeah, feel that stretch. All right, back to the middle. All right. Now, we're going to get warmed up a little bit. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to run in place. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. So first we're going to move our arms just like we're running. We're going to move our arms like we're running. Okay? And then we're going to move our feet. Now we're going to go on my pace. 1, 2, move your feet. I want to hear you. Ready? 1, 2, move your feet. 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 Go faster. So move your feet. 1, 2, 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 move your feet. 1 faster. 1, 2, move your feet. 1, 2, move your feet. 1, 2, move your feet. Fast you can. Go fast you can. And stop. Woo! Could have won the Olympics. We run that fast. Woo!
And I didn't get it.
All right, so warmed up a little bit. Now what we're going to do, after that, because we got our heart rate up, we're breathing a little bit harder, we're going to work on our deep belly breathing, okay? So what that entails is we're going to breathe in through our nose. When I say breathe in through our nose, we're going to breathe in through our nose, and then we're going to breathe out through our mouth. But as we're breathing in through our nose, we're going to have that breath fill up our belly, okay? So ready? Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. And as we breathe out through the mouth, we're going to relax our body even more, okay? So breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Relax. One more. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good. Excellent. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our fingers, we're going to interlace our fingers together. Okay? We're going to rotate our palms up to the sky and stretch it up. Oh, that should feel good. All the way up to the sky. All the way up to the sky. Get them up there. There you go. Some of you guys might be a little bit tight. That's why we're doing this. Stretch out those arms. And back down. Perfect. Okay? And again, interlace the fingers. We're going to rotate our palms up to the ceiling, up to the sky, and up. And we can lean back a little bit as well. Make sure you're breathing doing this. You don't want to hold your breath. You want to breathe. And down. Woo. Good. Okay, next stretch. Very simple. We're going to lift our arms up. We're going to lean back in our chairs and feel that stretch.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Like we're about to start flying. Yes. And back in. Good. All right. Now, we are going to do arm circles. Okay? So, arms either straight out. We're going to do arm circles forward. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to hold it out there. Palms rotate to the sky. Now we're going to go backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And down. Good. Feel that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to work on our deep breathing again, okay? So, breathe in through the nose, out to the mouth. In through the nose, out to the mouth. And in through the nose, out to the mouth. Good. Excellent. So one more set of arm circles. Arms out, palms down to the ground. We're going to go forward and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Hold it out there. Palms rotate to the sky. Now we're going to go backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Ooh, you can feel that, huh? Yep. All right. Now we're going to do jumping jacks without the jumping. So it's just going to be the jack, not the jumping. Now it's going to go, arms are going to go to the side. You know how you do jumping jacks where you go like that? We're just going to use our arms. So we're going to go up and clap and down, just like that, okay? That's 1. And up and down, that's 2. Clap at the top. Up, down, that's 3. Up, down, that's 4. Up, down, that's 5. Up, down, that's 6. Up, down, that's 7. Up, down, that's 8. Up, down, that's 9. Up, down, that's 10. Good job. Yeah. The blood pumping, muscles flowing, good to go. All right, we do one more set of that, okay? Ready? Arms down to the side. And up. Down, that's 1. And up. Down, that's 2. And up. Down, that's 3. And up. Down, that's 4. And up. Down, that's 5. And up. Down, that's 6. And up. Down, that's 7. And up. Down, that's 8. And up. One more. Down, that's 9. And up. And 10. Woo! Woo, shake it out. You can shake it out. Good, huh? All right, now we're going to go back to our deep breathing, okay? So again, nice and relaxed. We're going to breathe in through our nose, out through the mouth. In through our nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out to the mouth. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to go to our lower body. Okay. What we're actually going to do is we're going to stand up. Okay. So when everybody stand up, I'm going to get everybody get behind your chairs. Okay. So what I'm going to do is rotate your chair this way. So put you behind here.
Okay. Oh, you gotta do it back.
No, you're good. Right there. Dave, over here. Right. Yeah. Right. Stand behind here. Perfect. Okay. Jose, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody, again, we're going to stand behind our chair. Oh, you're good. So we're going to stand right in here. There you go. Just like that. Perfect. So again, we're standing behind our chair. I'm going to show you how this is going to work. Okay, we're going to do leg exercises. No, you are fine. Yeah. So just stand right there. Perfect. What we're going to do is we're going to work on our lower body exercises. So our first exercise I'm going to show you is we're going to go out to the side. Okay, so this angle we're going to start with our right leg, and we're going to push it out and in. That's 1, just like that. Okay, out and in to the side. That's 2. Out and in. That's 3. Out and in. That's 4. Using the same leg. Out, in. That's 5. Out, in. That's 6. Out, back in. That's 7. Out, back in. That's 8. Out, back in. That's 9. And out, back in. That's 10. Good. And at home, if you have a caregiver, make sure to stay next to you, in case you have balance issues. Okay. Now we're going to switch to the other leg, and same thing. So we're going to go out and in, that's 1. Out, in, that's 2. Out, in, that's 3. Out, in, that's 4. Out, in, that's 5. Out, in, that's 6. And out. Good. That's 7. Out. That's 8. Out. Down, that's 9. Out. Down, that's 10. Perfect. Good job. Again, standing up. This time we're going to go backwards with our leg. So it's going to look like this. Okay, we're going to push our leg backwards, just like that, and then back down. Okay, that's 1. So again, push it back. That's 2. Back. That's 3. Make sure you keep that leg straight. Back. 4. And back. And down is 5. Back, down that's 6. Back, down that's 7. Good. Back, that's 8. Back, that's 9. And back, that's 10. Good. You should be able to feel that in your buttocks, right?
Yeah.
And your booty, your legs and your booty.
And your leg.
Now we're going to switch to our other leg. Same thing. Okay. So lift the leg back and down. That's 1. Back and down. That's 2. Back. Going straight back. Down. That's 3. Back and down. That's 4. Back and down. That's 5. Back and down that's 6, back, and down that's 7, back, and down that's 8, back, and down that's 9, one more, back, down that's 10, excellent. Good job. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do calf raises. Calf raises, okay? So it's going to look like this. We're going to go up on our toes and then come back down, just like that, okay? So we're going to go up on our toes and then back down. Just like, yep. So on the toes and then down, that's 2. Up and down, that's 3. And toes and down, that's 4. And toes and down, that's 5. And toes and down, that's 6. And toes and down, that's 7. And toes and down, that's 8. And toes and down, that's 9. And toes and down, that's 10. Excellent job. Good. How's everybody feeling at home here? Everybody feeling good? Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's sit back down now. Everybody sit back down in your beautiful chairs. Whew. I know my butt is on fire. That sounded weird. That sounded wrong.
I don't see it burning.
That's a good thing then. All right. So now we're going to work on our boxing. Okay. First, we're going to do shoulder shrugs. Shoulder shrugs. Okay. So what we're going to do, arms are going to go to our side. We're going to shrug up and then down. Up, shoulders. Down, that's 2. Up. Down, that's 3. Up. Down, that's 4. Up. Down, that's 5. Up. Down, that's 6. Up. Down, that's 7. And up. Down, that's 8. Up. Down, that's 9. And up. And down, that's 10. Good. Okay. And then from there, we're going to work on our deep breathing again. All right. So again, we're going to breathe in through our nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Perfect. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to work on our boxing. Okay? Exactly. So everybody get our arms up. And what we're going to do is we're going to box. So we're going to punch, switch arms, and punch. Punch, 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 punch. Punch, 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 punch. Good job. Punch, punch, punch. A little faster. Punch, 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 punch. A little faster. Punch, 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 faster, punch, 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 fast you can, punch, 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 fast you can, punch, and stop. Good.
That's how I knocked him out. Oh, wow. That's good.
Excellent job. All right, so now we're going to add one more element into our boxing. So it's going to go like this. Arms up. And we're going to punch, punch, uppercut. 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 Good. Punch, punch, uppercut. Excellent. Punch, punch, uppercut. Good. Punch, punch, uppercut. 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 Ah, good job.
Hey, they laid out on the floor.
Knocked him out, huh? Knocked him
Oh,
out.
yeah.
All right. That was a good one, huh?
Oh, yeah. That's good exercise.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our own orchestra and we're going to rowboat. So we're going to sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat as we're doing rows in a boat.
Okay.
And how are those rows going to look? We're going to pretend like we have oars right here in front of us.
Yeah.
And we're going to row back. And we're going to squeeze our back together, come back forward, squeeze our back together, come back forward, squeeze our back together, just like that.
Okay.
And we're going to sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat as we do it. Ready?
All right.
And grab those oars and go. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Good job. Now we should make our own choir. What should our choir name be?
Oh, you go.
Flow your boat, flow your boat. All right, excellent job. Now we're going to go with a little cool down. Okay, so what we're going to do first, I want you guys to get up in your chairs a little bit. All right. Now we're going to get our legs spread, our knees spread apart here. What we're going to do is going to reach down in between ourselves and touch the ground. Try and touch the ground. You're going to feel the stretch in there. So you're stretching between your legs. There you go. Good. And just lean down and hang. Just hang down there. Perfect. And back up. Good. Do that one more time, okay? And make sure those knees are apart. And we're just going to go and hang down the middle. Hang down the middle. Yep. Try and get your knuckles and hands to the ground. And back up. Perfect. All right. Now what we're going to do, both legs are going to come straight out in front of us. We're going to reach down and try and touch your toes. Oh, yeah. Try and touch your toes. You feel the stretch in your hamstrings.
Yeah.
Yep. And back up. Good. And ready, back down again. Back down again. Try and touch those toes. And back up. Good. Now back in your chairs here. Next stretch. We're going to put our arms straight up. We're going to lean over ourselves. Lean over ourselves. There you go. Lean over. Perfect. Good. And back up. Switch arms. And over the side. And back up. How's everybody feel? Good?
Yeah.
Last stretch we're going to do, spread eagle. Okay, now that's how it's going to go. We're going to lift our legs out and arms out and stretch it back. Oh, yeah. And back in. Good.
Everybody.
And back out again. And back in. Good. Whew. Thank you for joining me today for our daily stretch.
Well, thank you.
I'm glad I can make you stronger. Thank you at home. Again, my name is Diallo. Thanks for joining me today. I will see you next time.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon again.
Again, my name is Diallo,
Hello.
and today we're doing current events. Today is June 22nd, a Monday of the year 2020. 2020. How about that, huh?
That's great.
2020.
Great.
Imagine like in 1900, people were sitting in a room just like this in 1900 saying, I wonder what's going to be like in the year 2020. We're going to have flying cars, right?
And they're gonna have flying people too.
Well, we kind of do have flying people. There's people flying in the air right now in airplanes. Right. But in the year 1920, there really wasn't that many airplanes. A lot of people hadn't even been 100 miles from their house in 1920. 100 years ago. How crazy. That's even more crazy, right? Most people had never been in a car in 1920. What else in 1920? Your mom was?
My mom was
Oh,
way
all right.
over.
So I've got the local newspaper here. I got the East Bay Times. So we're just going to kind of go through a couple of these and let you folks know what's going on in our world and area today. All right.
As you get older, you kind of forget things.
So first, we're going to start with sports. Now,
Well, they can-
first one, this is going to be about Major League Baseball. If you don't know anything about Major League Baseball right now, because of our situation with the virus, the COVID-19, okay, they're trying, the owners and the players are trying to get together to actually play a season this year. Okay, but neither one of them can agree on terms about money or how many games they're going to play. So, the title of this is Players Set to Reject the Proposal by Owners. It says an email from Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred to the union head Tony Clark led to a balk in the drawn-out talks to start the pandemic-delayed season. The executive committee of the Players Association was set to vote and reject Major League Baseball's latest offer for a 60-game season on Sunday. Players want 70 games and $275 million more than the teams are offering. Now, that $275 million is for all the players to distribute to all the players. They are worried that if a resurgence of the new coronavirus causes the 2020 to be cut short, the deal being negotiated would lock in innovations for 2020 and lessen the union's bargaining power. Manfred wrote that in fewer than the agreed upon number of games are played this year, the 2021 changes would be voided in the manner that would leave them up for renegotiation. People familiar with the email told the Associated Press. The people spoke on condition of anonymity because no statements were authorized. Players didn't take a vote and will consider their next move. Among the items in the proposal deal for 2020 and 2021 are expanded playoffs, use of the designated hitter in games involving National League teams, and allowing advertisements on uniforms. The 2020 only items include starting extra inning games with a runner on second, and a discussion on whether to allow tie games after a specified time of total innings plus players re-entry into extra inning games. Some players would prefer there was no deal and that Manfred unilaterally order the schedule. Because players have insisted on full prorated pay, he has threatened to a schedule of 50 games. Now, the prorated pay means that normally baseball has a 162-game season. So if they only play 70 games, you'd only get paid for 70 games. But the players want a prorated salary, which means they're going to get paid for 162 games for only playing half the season. Now, some of these players are making, how much do you think they're making a year? So one of the top players, you know how much he's making this year? $32 million. So they want $32 million for only playing half the season. Now, if you were an owner, you'd be like, why am I paying you for half the time? Right? You're the owner of a business, so you're going to pay your employees for half the work? No. But at the same time, there's millions of dollars that have to be made, right? Okay. So that's what they're up in arms about. But the players want their full salary, but the owners don't want to give it to them.
Oh, why not?
Because the owners don't want to pay for half a season. They don't want to pay for a whole season if you're only going to play half a season. Right? All right. So let's see what we got next here. So here's one. Dangerous situation seen at Discovery Bay. Discovery Bay is out near Antioch. Pittsburgh stopped out there. So officials are warning people to stay out of the water because of harmful algae. Health officials are urging residents and visitors to stay out of the water in Discovery Bay after dangerous levels of harmful algae were detected. Marissa Van Dyke of the State Water Resource Control Board reported that a recent lab results from water testing showed a significant harmful algae blooms occurring in Discovery Bay. Multiple locations recorded a danger level, the highest threshold, she said. Numerous Discovery Bay residents also had reported harmful algae, including in areas not sampled on June 4th. The Regional Park Board staff confirmed dangerous levels of harmful algae bloom in water and scum samples from 3 coves within the bay near the Discovery Bay Yacht Club, Windward Bay, and Clipper Bay. The latter two had levels nearly 13 times higher than is safe. That's a lot, huh?
Yes, it is.
That's a lot.
It's not going to get better.
Joe Dozer, supervising environmental health specialist from Contra Costa Environmental Health, said the levels were much higher than last year. Other impacted coves and bays within Discovery Bay include Reeves Cove, Discovery Bay Harbor, Beaver Bay, and Beaver Bay, according to the officials. The bay is located in the southern area of the Delta, with connections to Old River and Clifton Court Forebay. Dozer said officials are still studying why the levels are higher this year. One theory is the water was more stagnant because it didn't rain much at all this year. So if it doesn't rain, the water gets stagnant, algae blooms come up, fish die, not good. Poor water flows are a factor, he explained. Dozer recommended that the people and pets avoid the water and not eat fish or shellfish caught in the bay. Dogs in particular, they get in the water and go crazy and lick their fur. Dogs in particular, they get in the water and go crazy and lick their fur. And with their smaller body weights, they are more at risk. So you don't want your dog drinking that water. I wouldn't drink it either. Exposure to cyanobacteria and associated toxins can cause eye irritation, skin rash, mouth ulcers, vomiting, diarrhea, and cold or flu symptoms. Discovery Bay resident Michael Greggins, who lives on Clipper Bay, said he's not taking any chances. So his kayak will sit idle on boat ports above the pea soup colored water surrounding the docks. He no longer swims in the bay water either. We had no idea it would be like this, said an 11-year-old Discovery Bay resident. You pay quite a premium to be out here and enjoy the water, and you really can't. It defeats the purpose. Oh, not an 11-year-old, the 11-year resident. I said 11-year-old. Oh my God, does an 11-year-old have a sentence like that? County health officials further recommended against touching or handling blue-green algae in the water or scum on the shoreline. It is also unsafe to drink or cook with water in these areas, they said in a statement late Monday. Environmental health also has warning signs available for residents and businesses to post if needed. Man. Let's see something else here. How about this? Questions from the community, okay? This was from Mr. Roadshow, Gary Richards, who has his daily piece. So if you have anything you want to ask him, you write it in, and he answers it on here. So let's see what some of the residents of the Bay Area have. Vision Zero is opening a lot of eyes. So a question from Craig T. He writes, when I was a defense attorney, I was very much opposed to unattended radar cameras to catch speeders. Now I wish for them as a Porsche whizzes by my bicycle at 50 miles per hour and at 35. So he's talking about cameras that are on the light poles that they catch speeders. So answer, the Vision Zero program is designed to make city streets safer for all users with lower speed limits, narrowing and reducing traffic lanes, adding bike lanes, and widening pedestrian crossings. It has generated a huge reaction, but unlike Craig, almost all are from drivers who are steamed with the changes. So today is the first of back-to-back road shows on the debate. People are mad about slowing traffic.
You should be happy.
Thank you.
I know.
So they don't get killed.
So here's another one about somebody about the traffic. Their question is, this is a long overdue discussion of pros and cons of deliberately slowing urban traffic. I have some strong opinions about this. Civic operations improve when cities make life more pleasant, not less pleasant. Most efforts to discourage driving backfires in various ways. People move to the suburbs where they drive thousands of extra miles every year. The Berkeley flatlands are extremely unpleasant and stressful because of driving and parking frustrations. And that is for sure. Berkeley is one of my least favorite places to drive because there are too many stoplights and it takes forever to go 1 mile. It takes forever to drive in Berkeley. I think they do that on purpose. Okay, it says, I have lived there for 40 years, and only when I moved away did I realize how much stress I had been under. I rarely go back here. I noticed that wherever possible, people drive as fast as they can in Berkeley to make up all the time lost from barriers and parking. Thank you. That's my thing. Because they got a bunch of random one-way streets where they put big planter boxes in, so now you can't go down that street anymore. And now you got to go around, and it takes 10 minutes to go around because you hit every single stoplight. All right. So let's go to another story here. Oh, here's an interesting one. This is from Congress, okay? It says the House will consider making D.C. a state. The House Congress is going to consider making Washington, D.C. a state. Because it's not actually a state. Does anybody know what Washington, D.C. is? It's not a state. And I literally just forgot what it was. I know what it was. I just forgot. I'll think about it. So let's read this one. This is from the New York Times. Democrats announced Tuesday the House would vote this month on a statehood for District of Columbia, capitalizing on anger over the Trump administration's handling of the racial justice protests in the nation's capital to set the first vote on the issue in more than a quarter century. The movement to transform the nation's capital into the 51st state has been galvanized in recent months by the new Democratic majority in the House, where more than 200 Democrats have signed onto the statehood legislation, now scheduled for a June 26 vote. But the Trump administration's use of federal officers in the district to respond to protests over killing last month of George Floyd in police custody in Minneapolis has intensified calls for the nation's capital to be given the same rights, including voting representation in Congress that all 50 states have. Over the past few weeks, we saw further examples of why the District of Columbia's lack of representation in Congress is so damaging, said Republican Steny H. Hoyer of Maryland. We are the only free nation in the world whose capital doesn't have voting representation in their parliament. All right, so here's some news from Asia. Title is North Korea Destroys Liaison Office with the South Korea. So this is from the Associated Press from Seoul, South Korea. North Korea blew up an inter-Korean liaison office building just north of the heavily armed border with South Korea on Tuesday, in a carefully choreographed, largely symbolic display of anger that puts pressure on Washington and Seoul amid deadlocked nuclear diplomacy. Although the building was empty and the North had previously signaled its plans to destroy it, the move is still the most provocative act by North Korea since it entered nuclear talks in 2018 after a US-North Korean standoff had many fearing war. It will pose a serious setback to the efforts of liberal South Korean President Moon Jae-in to engage the North. North Korea's official Korean Central News Agency said the country destroyed the office in a terrific explosion because its enraged people were determined to force the human scum and those who have sheltered the scum to pay dearly for their crimes. Apparently referring to North Korean defectors living in South Korea, who for years have floated anti-Pyongyang leaflets across the border. So you have a lot of people who used to live in North Korea who escaped and defected to South Korea, who are trying to send leaflets back to their family to let them know that North Korea is not good because they have slavery, all that kind of stuff. They oppress their people. Yeah.
Well, how's things going here in the United States?
That's okay. So the news agency did not detail how the office in North Korea border town of Kaesong was destroyed. Now, Kaesong, do you know what Kaesong is? It was a big battle in the Korean War where a lot of service members lost their life. A lot of them did. It's really sad. A lot of them did. And that was one of the worst winters in Korean history. So a lot of soldiers, they didn't die from combat. They died from the elements. They literally froze to death because our government didn't give them the right kind of winter equipment. So not enough heavy coats and things like that, and it got colder than expected. Crazy, huh? So there's stories. There's one story of a whole platoon that was surrounded by North Korean army, and only one or two people got out alive out of a whole platoon of guys. And they literally had to crawl past the Korean lines to get back to safety. And they got a frostbite because they had to crawl in the snow. Man.
We live in terrible times.
That was in the 1950s. Yeah. South Korea's government later released military surveillance video showing clouds of smoke rising from the grounds as a building collapsed at a now shuttered joint industrial park in Kaesong, where the liaison office stood. South Korea issued a statement expressing strong regret over the destruction of the building, warning of a stern response if North Korea takes additional steps that aggravated tensions. Interesting. All right.
Maybe still living terrible times. Tell
Let's see what else we got.
Just scared.
Let's look at some Berkeley crime stats, huh? So Berkeley crime, and this one takes place at the Berkeley BART station. Woman arrested for allegedly pushing man from a platform. Let's not read that. We'll find out. So victim narrowly avoids being hit by an oncoming train. A man at the downtown Berkeley BART station escaped with his life Monday evening after being pushed off the platform and onto the tracks as a train was approaching, authorities said Tuesday. BART police arrested a woman Tuesday morning for allegedly pushing the man and identified her as 34-year-old Raleigh Akurapadu, a transient woman whom Berkeley police found sleeping on a bench near the station. BART spokesman Jim Allison said. Officers arrested her at 8:35 a.m. on suspicion of attempted murder and violating her probation. She's in custody at the Santa Rita Jail in Dublin on Tuesday afternoon and not eligible for bail. Her arraignment is scheduled for 9 a.m. Friday at an East Bay Alameda County Hall of Justice. The near miss happened at 9:18 p.m. According to the liaison, a woman suspected to be Akurapadu shoved the man with both hands as the Richmond-bound train entered the station. She had been lying on a bench on the platform before the incident, Allison said. After falling off the 5-foot platform, the man leaned against the platform wall, allowing a small space for the 3-car train to squeeze by without hitting him. The train stopped and its operator opened the door, allowing the man to get on board. On the train, Berkeley fire personnel examined the man, who suffered only slight ankle injury. Allison, he declined any other treatment. So she pushed him onto the train tracks while the train was about to almost hit him. Man.
Oh, she should be in jail right now.
She is in jail.
Oh, good.
So next one. Police seek care of robbery suspects. So bike shop owner has images captured by surveillance cameras of the robbery. Berkeley police were seeking a pair of suspects in connection with a weekend robbery that left a shot damage and multiple bicycles and other items for sale missing. Shortly before 3 a.m. Saturday, 2 men broke into Spokes Bike Lounge at 1409 Martin Luther King Way by smashing its front glass door, police said in a statement Monday. Police described the men as African-American, about 20 to 30 years old, about 5'8" to 5'10", with a medium build and long dreadlocks tied in a bun, wearing a gray t-shirt, orange gloves, and blue face mask, and light-skinned, possibly white man, about 20 to 30 years old, 5'10" to 6 feet tall, with a thin medium build, wearing all black clothing and gray shoes. As of 7 p.m. Monday, more than 130 people have contributed to a GoFundMe online fundraising campaign to help the store repair damage it had and had surpassed an initial $10,000 goal and was approaching $11,000 en route to a new goal of $15,000. In the campaign and in-store social media posts, store owner Pearlie Tan and Brian Drayton said they opened the shop in 2015 to help meet local families' mobility needs, and added that the suspects took at least half a dozen bicycles and a 5-foot trailer, as well as lights and tires. Anyone with information should call Berkeley Police. All right, so one last story. It's going to be a feel-good story.
Yes.
All right. So this is going to be a story. Let's see what the story is. The story is called Truly Inspiring. 3 years after breaking his neck, former Cal rugby player Paler keeps defying the odds. Robert Paler was not supposed to walk again. A doctor at the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center delivered the prognosis after the Cal rugby player broke his neck during the 2017 Collegiate National Championship. The injury was the result of a mass of muscular men collapsing atop 6'5" Paler while an opponent had dragged him down by the neck. They were still playing rugby around my numb, motionless body, Paler recalled. I looked like a corpse. Physicians and family were not sure that Paler, then a sophomore at Cal, would survive. The impact had shattered 3 of Paler's vertebrae as he slammed into the grass field at Santa Clara University. Paler suffered from pneumonia, could not swallow or breathe independently, and lost 60 pounds. He had to have his lungs pumped every 3 hours, often done by his mother, Debbie Paler. In the hospital, those next 2 weeks were like a death chamber, said family friend Dave Casano, whose son, Sam Casano, played with Paler. From those desperate moments, Paler, 23, has emerged as an inspiration to the Cal rugby community and thousands of others. He spent the past 3 years willing his legs and hands to regain function so he could graduate from the Haas School of Business and walk across the stage to receive a diploma. The May 16th graduation ceremony was canceled like so many others. Instead of appearing in person, Paler delivered an emotional video address to Cal graduating athletes. I worked so hard to get there, and then it was gone, like so many other things in my life, he said. Paler finished his college career as one of the 5 recipients of the Wilma Rudolph Student Athlete Achievement Award, an honor given to individuals who have overcome traumatic experiences to find success. The award is named after one of America's greatest women Olympic sprinters who taught herself to walk after contracting polio at 5. Wow. Paler has continued physical therapy at his parents' home in El Dorado Hills, east of Sacramento, to maintain body function while also developing a strategy to become a nationally recognized motivational speaker to represent what it means to overcome the impossible. Breaking your neck, you would think it is all bad, Paler said. But being able to touch someone's heart makes breaking my neck a gift. How about that? Mm-hmm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining me for today's current events.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Now at home, I'll see you next time. Again, my name is Diallo. We're doing current events.
Come again.